tell you what, any boss who sacks anyone for not turning up today is a bum. And it's a day for all Australians, isn't it? It's a day that brings us all together. Marvellous. Absolutely marvellous.
Traveling in a fried-out Kombi on a hippie trailhead full of zombies.
This video is not getting monetized, boys, and that's okay. That's okay. We don't need this video monetized. The celebrations have been going on all bloody night. I've just gotten back from the streets. There's people walking down the streets just yelling JDM, JDM, JDM. There's been flyovers by the Royal Australian Air Force just showering the cities of Australia in green and gold confetti. There's speedboats going down up and down the Yarra River, just blasting this song over and over again. There hasn't been a victory like this seen in Australia since the 1983 Great Yacht Race. Up ya JDM, up ya Alexander Volkanovski. We did it, boys. We did it. The celebrations have been going on all bloody night long, and we are feeding on kebabs and halal meat. What a pay-per-view, boys. We did it. What a bloody pay-per-view. Up ya, JDM. Alright, that's enough. Let's slow this down just a little bit. Let's just bring the mood down a little bit. Big celebrations all night long. Oh, g'day, legends. G'day, my microphone's broke. G'day, legends. Cheers. This one is for JDM. This one is for Alexander Volkanovski. This one is for Robert Whittaker. What an amazing fight from Jack Della Maddalena and Belal Muhammad. Well done, boys. Delicious. On you, JDM. An amazing fight from both of them. An amazing fight from both of them. How did I score the fight? How did I take in the fight while it was happening? Nervously. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I have a lot riding on a fighter and I really want to see them win, I can't score. I can't score at all. I give way too much credit to the opposing fighter that I'm not going against. I think it's because I've been burned so much by Sal D'Amato in the past and just MMA judging in general that I do genuinely, I mean, this video isn't being monetized, so it doesn't matter. I fucking shit bricks. I shit bricks when it comes to their judging. So when I see Belal Muhammad throw those takedowns, I tend to be very conservative with my judging. But the way that the fight seems to have gone, the way the chat was giving it to me, it was 3 rounds to JDM. That looks to be the way that the judges scored it as well. Going into the 5th round, I had it 2 apiece. That 5th round, my stomach was so in my throat. I was so close to vomiting just from the sheer nerves of what I was watching. I don't know how I scored that fight. I need to go back and watch it, which I haven't done yet. I'm just enjoying the celebration of the moment. Canelo hands from Belal Muhammad chose to stand there and box with JDM. Silly move. No, respect to Belal Muhammad. He looked great. I think that was the best Belal Muhammad that we have ever seen in there. He looked great. He actually shot takedowns out in the open. I believe he shot 1 takedown out in the open. The trick with Belal Muhammad is he isn't shooting takedowns genuinely unless he already has your back up against the cage, because Belal doesn't really like to blast a double leg. What he likes to do is grind you up against the cage, get in some annoying knees, get in some annoying shots to the body, and then get in underneath your hips and dunk you onto the ass. But JDM didn't let that happen. And what broke the two apart, what separated the two and gave JDM the win in this fight, was essentially the propaganda campaign that I have been pushing for the last 2 weeks was based around. The propaganda campaign was based around the fact that JDM is built different. And what I mean by that is the dude has 0 quit in him. 0 quit in him. There's a story about JDM. He lost his first 2 fights in MMA and he promised to himself that he would never lose again. And ever since then, JDM has given 100% effort at all times, trying to get the win no matter what. And he did that throughout this entire fight. There was a moment in the 5th round where Belal had JDM flat on the ground, center of the cage, no cage to get up on, and the whole chat was saying, oh no, it's over. Now, I don't pay for pay-per-views, so I'm a few minutes behind a live chat. I assume JDM has gotten choked out, but they are just upset that JDM was taken down. So I'm sitting there going, oh, he's going to get choked out. JDM doesn't get choked out. I go, oh, he's just down? He will get back up, boys. Don't worry, he will get back up. And I'm pleading, and I'm screaming, and I'm hoping, and what do you bloody know? JDM gets back up. That is the built different in JDM. It's the grit and the determination to just simply, quite frankly, not fucking quit. And it's the same grit and determination that Alexander Volkanovski had when he was locked up in Brian Ortega's choke. This is the fucking built different. I'm telling you, Robert Whittaker wouldn't have tapped to... I'm taking the whole country with me on this win. The whole country's jumping on board this win. Robert Whittaker wouldn't have tapped to Khamzat Chimaev if his fucking teeth didn't give up. Robert Whittaker's jaw gave up before Robert Whittaker did. Built different, boys. Built different. But now we move on. Okay, so overall, the card. No, you know what? Let's keep talking about the win for a minute. Belal fought as hard as Belal possibly could. As much as JDM was built different and didn't want to quit, Belal Muhammad also didn't want to give up the belt. And I get why. Like, Belal had to go on one of the most insane win streaks of all time just to get his shot at the title. And when he eventually did, he didn't want to let it go. So Belal Muhammad was throwing everything with absolute maximum effort as well. Just a phenomenal fight to watch on top of a phenomenal card. The card overall, I give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. There was essentially 2 boring fights for me on this card. Every other fight, even though it went to a decision, I found to be incredibly exciting. Just before we leave that, let's stick with the what happens now for JDM. If it is going to be JDM versus Islam Makhachev, because we just had the UFC press conference, and even then they still haven't announced it. If it is going to be JDM versus Islam Makhachev, I do believe that JDM can get the win over Islam Makhachev. I think they should do the pay-per-view in Perth if Islam Makhachev wants to move up. And JDM took the words out of my mouth, something that I've been saying for the last 5 days. Hashtag Volk's revenge. JDM said it. We're going to get revenge for Volk, mate. So, if Islam Makhachev wants to fly over to Australia and try and get the welterweight title of JDM, we, the Australian population of MMA, we completely welcome it, and we can't wait to see it go down. But let's see what happens. The UFC is such a shittily organized and poorly run company that they were obviously still on a fucking conference call during the press conference trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do for International Fight Week. When, you know, there was only 2 outcomes that could have happened here. Either Belal was going to win or JDM was going to win. You should have the yeses from the other fighters involved for International Fight Week, given either scenario. Oliveira, Ilia Topuria, are you happy to fight for an interim title? Yes or no? Yeah? Islam Makhachev, are you happy to wait and fight JDM later in Perth? Yes or no if JDM wins? These are conversations that should have been had, quite frankly, 4 fucking weeks ago. The fact that Dana White was in the building, but Dana White wasn't at the press conference, is insane to me. Okay, now we can move on to the rest of the card. Another big standout of the card for me was Jose Aldo versus Ayman Zahabi. Did Jose look great? Round 1, he looked good. Round 2, he was a step behind. Zahabi took round 2. Start of round 3, he looked great. And then he gassed himself out going for a soccer kick heroic finish. He did gas out. And I'm not going to lie. It was an emotional card for me. When Jose Aldo did that post-fight interview and he just thanked Dana White and everyone at the UFC but said, I'm just old and I just don't have it anymore. I don't have that fire anymore. As a middle-aged man myself who, like, you know, wakes up and does the grind of life every single day, to see a man like Jose Aldo, who has fought so hard for so long, to stand in the middle of an arena, essentially in his underwear, and just say, time got me. It was a moment. It was a real moment. This card had some moments in it, you know? Had some emotional bloody roller coasters in it. Again, the UFC, the company that is the UFC these days. Any of these fighters that are 36 years old and over, you know the kind of fighters we're dealing with. Have a package ready to go, saved in a folder. You have got a fucking production team bus parked outside the arena. For UFC 306, we have 2 fucking buses. You got the best production team in the world. You already have a Jose Aldo thank you package. He's in the fucking Hall of Fame. I don't care if we've seen it before for when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Play it! Play it! If a fighter is over 36, whip up a promotional package for them, have it saved in a fucking folder. If they're on a fight night card and they lose like Jose Aldo did, play it! How fucking hard is it, UFC? Jose, he fought with everything that he had. He did, and truer words haven't been spoken. I just don't have what it takes to get me over the line. Oh, Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot. Valentina Shevchenko gets her 10th title defense. Can we just have Invicta for free on Fight Pass? They slow down the cards, man. They slow down the cards. Natalie Silva versus Alexa Grasso. If a man had fought like Natalia Silva had fought, tappy-tappy, pitter-patter on the outside, the MMA world would be going nuts. But Natalia Silva, she's cute, so she gets a pass. That's the way that it is. Benoit Saint Denis versus Kyle Provolone. Benoit Saint Denis did exactly what he had to do to get the win, the way that he should have got the win. One takeaway from it, though, is Kyle Provolone, the Kyle Provolactic, was landing shots on Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis is never going to be that top 10 lightweight that Lucas Tracy thought he would be. Maybe that's too far. I mean, how old is Benoit? He's 29. Maybe he will. All right, never say never. You know what I mean? Like, look at where Moicano is now. Never say never. But even though Benoit did what he had to do to get the win, the hype train for Benoit Saint Denis is well and truly done. Everyone tickets off the train. There is no hype train. He is going to need a complete rebranding, rebuild, everything to get started again, because Provolone shouldn't have been landing on Benoit the way that he was, even though Benoit got the win. Next fight that I want to talk about, the one that we all obviously want to talk about as well, apart from the main event, is Marc-Andre Barriault damn near kills Bruno Silva. And this video is coming out later, but the night has not passed yet. Bruno Silva, I'm legit still thinking about him in my heart, my mind, and my soul. Legitimately. I am not a doctor, right? I'm just a dickhead that loves MMA. But it's my understanding that with concussions and with damage to the brain, it's when you go to sleep at night and the brain does its thing, that's the most dangerous period for these sort of concussive blows. The knockout didn't look too bad when it happened, but when you slow it down and you can see the indent happen inside of Bruno Silva's skull, and that he doesn't move for a minute and a half, I was legit worried that this was it. This was the end of the sport. Because I'm telling you, the moment that someone dies in the cage, it's the end of the sport. That's when it happens. And I thought we were witnessing fucking 3 fights into the pay-per-view in Canada. I thought we were witnessing the end of the sport. Because bro was not moving. And then even when he was moving, it was sluggish as shit. Damage has been done to Bruno Silva. Now, the doctors say that he's fucking fine. Get him out of here. He'll be right. Send him back home to go to sleep. If I was a dictator in charge of the UFC, if I was Dougie White, if this Dougie White was in charge of the UFC, I'm paying all of the money to have 3 doctors monitoring that cunt. And we're not getting monetized anyway. Sorry, the Australian came out of me. We're not monitoring that bloke for the next 48 hours. Legitimately for the next 48 hours, just watch him. Watch him. Bruno Silva never fight again. I know Vicente Luque ended up getting a brain hemorrhage with brain bleeding and he came back to fight, but you have not got the career that Vicente Luque had. You know what I mean? You just got your eyes clawed out by Chris Weidman. You're already on a couple of fight losing streak. Quite frankly, this fight between Bruno Silva and Marc-Andre Barriault was a who's getting cut from the UFC this week. Who's the UFC roster tracker's next victim anyway sort of a fight. And Bruno Silva, you lost. You were going to lose. But now you were going to lose. And you knocked on death's door, and I still hope that as of the time of releasing this video, things are okay for Bruno Silva. Legit, dude, that was disgusting. Disgusting. God, I love MMA so goddamn much. Bekzat sleeps Brad Katona. Beautiful. Beautiful cinema. Daniel Santos versus Yong Lee versus Lee. All right. Daniel Santos versus Lee. I am a Daniel Santos fan. And coming into this fight with his horrible weight cut and the attempts that it seemed like he didn't even bother to make in the gym this week, I was worried, but I enjoy Daniel Santos because I enjoy violence. And Daniel Santos brings violence every single time he fights. And he brought it in this fight. And the first 2 rounds, I was almost like this could be the fight of the year in the first 2 rounds. Completely forgetting what we had watched in the first 2 rounds of last week's card. You know how it is when you're just watching the fights and you're getting caught in the moment. But it really was that kind of a fight in the first 2 rounds. 3rd round was still entertaining and fun. You know, but the way these things sort of go, when you're a savage in the first 2 rounds, it's not going to be a savageness in the 3rd round. What I do like about what I saw from Daniel Santos was he would go hard when he was in striking distance. Go hard 100%. And then I loved how he would grapple just to get his air back. But then the second that he got his air and his cardio back, he would break from the grappling and get back to the damage. What I hate seeing is someone who gasses out and then just grapples for the rest of the fight. Doesn't even bother trying to get back into the fight. Daniel Santos didn't do that. Daniel Santos struck hard on the feet, then got into the grappling, regenerated his gas tanks, then broke away and got back into hard striking. I think it was a very clever way to manage a gas tank that was clearly underprepared because you kind of looked a little bit flabby. You didn't look like you were even going to make the weight that you were meant to make. So you obviously weren't as prepared as you should have been, but you managed that very well, Daniel Santos. Very, very good. What else am I missing? Navo Serling versus Ivan Erslan. Couldn't watch this because once again we got into the GOAT debate on the stream. Mighty Mouse is the GOAT. I'll tell you about it later. So I've got to go back and watch that, which I will do thusly after I watch JDM beat up Belal Muhammad again without stressing about the scorecards. God, what a time to be an Australian. Cheers to JDM. Right. Next one. Modestas Bucastas versus Ion Kutalaba. Good fight. Fun fight. Went to a decision, but still very entertaining fight. Just not one of the highlights of it. Jasmine Jasudavicius submits Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade, she's done. She doesn't have the chin for it anymore. I know it was a sleeping, not a chinning, but still, she doesn't have what she used to have. But at this point, look at how the card is building, right? We got a sick knockout from Betzak Almacan. A sick fight from Daniel Santos and Young Lee. Marc-Andre Barriou damn near kills Bruno Silva. I hope that he's okay. Navajo and Ivan Erslan put on a damn good fight. So does Bucastas and Ion Kutalaba put on a good fight. WMMA. Oh no, boys. We're having too much fun. This should be shit. Wasn't. It was fucking great. Right? Mike Malott versus Charles Radke. Embarrasses Radke, mate. Not in the way that Radke fought, but just in the personality of Radke, which I quite enjoy, because quite frankly, and again, we're not getting monetized, he's a cunt. He's a fiery cunt. But I think it's funny. I enjoy watching Charles Radke. I like watching a guy who's a bit of a prick. Why do I like Charles Radke, but I don't like Bo Nickel? I don't fucking know. But here we are. But I enjoy Charles Radke when I see him. And Mike Malott went in there and did it for Canada. And then gave one of the most Canadian post-fight win speeches you could get. He goes, no, guys, don't boo him. Come on, he fought real hard. Like, he goes and cheers him on. What a great competitor. We should be clapping for Radke. It's such a Canadian way to take the win. It's great to see. And then we get to Benoit St. Denis and Natalia Silva. And that was it. That was the card. Honestly, you take away Natalia Silva and Alexa Grasso, which gets a pass because Silva's cute. You take away Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. And you take away Natalia Silva versus Alexa Grasso. Surprising that they're the two fights that you have to take off this card. And you have a 10 out of 10 card. One of the best UFC cards. Easily the best UFC card since UFC 300, without a doubt. You take away those two fights. Because the start of UFC 100 was a little bit mid, but then it obviously got better as it built. And maybe one of the best cards we've seen in... Shit, man. Since GSP versus Michael Bisping. Like, just a phenomenal card. 10 out of 10 card. Could have been a 10 out of 10 card if WMA didn't exist. Could have been a 10 out of 10 card, but we have WMA, so... Shevchenko did her thing. Brings it down just a touch. Just a touch. Because it was a fun back and forth fight, but there was just no fucking... It was just very... Oh, look. Shevchenko kicked her in the head, but it can't hurt her. Man, I don't know if you touched Shevchenko, but it didn't hurt her. You know, it was a bit like that, but it doesn't matter. 9.5 out of 10. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Unbelievable for the Aussies. We bloody did it. We did it, JDM. We. You and the propaganda campaign run by the JDM fan base and all of Australia. We bloody did it. Pay-per-view in Perth. If Islam Makhachev wants this, then fucking bring it, Islam Makhachev. We'd love to taste some of you. Ugh, that came out way too. That's enough. Anyway, I'm out of here, boys. If this is your first time here, g'day, welcome. My name is Dougie. I make an MMA video every single day of the week, Monday through Friday, and I try and go live at least 3 times a week. If you want to know when all that happens, hit the notification bell and the subscription button down there to know when I go live and to make sure you get every single video. Leave a comment down there. What's your favorite JDM moment? What do you rate this card out of 10? Leave it in a comment down there. And if you're one of the paying members of the channel, thank you guys so much. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate everyone that joined me on the stream yesterday. I broke a record for me watching a fight night stream, which is 35 viewers. I know. Well, you're 35 viewers. You're celebrating that. It's a big deal to me, mate. All right, I'm a little channel. 2,400 subscribers is a small channel. Big pay-per-view. Everyone's streaming. Everyone with an MMA channel is streaming and doing a fight companion. 35 is good. 35 is good. Good numbers for me. I'm happy with that. So thank you guys so much for joining me on that stream. And until then, I'll see you on the next stream and in the next video. Goodbye.